All right, hey, what's up, guys? It's Jamie. I'm almost in here, just having my breakfast. I have a Quest bar. I'm not promoting Quest bars, but they're low in sugar and they're fairly healthy. And I think, as far as I know, better than a McMuffin. I have a little coffee. That's how I start my day. When you have snow, we had some snow the other day. We had to do our lots and stuff, but I didn't have time to do my driveway. I just kind of shoveled the pad, did my deck. I knew I should have did the driveway. I should have took that extra 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it would have took me to snow blow it, because what happens is if it doesn't melt here, it just turns to a sheet of ice, and that's what I saw this morning. I was like, I thought maybe it'd warm up, but c'est la vie. So I missed out on the house that I wanted to buy in East Boston. We got some things going on, different little projects now. One of the things we're doing is I'm going to have a meeting with somebody who has a fleet of cars for Turo. Part of the interest in the East Boston location was it's only 6 minutes from the airport. There's a huge hotel right next door. I saw a lot of opportunity for not just rentals, but also for car rentals. So kind of a double whammy. But the seller was not flexible as they had said. And I'm not picking on the seller. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's just business. The seller originally said, hey, I'd love to sell you the property and see it go to a family instead of just getting torn down and turned into condos. And the seller had two offers. What they shared with me, one was for $725 and one was for $850, and both of them didn't go anywhere. And I said, well, what do you want? And they said $8, which to me, even the $8 seemed like too much money, in my opinion, between what the property costs to just renovate and what the bank would give you if there is a bank involved. For me, there would be a bank involved, or someone tearing it down from scratch, which would, honestly, that would make the most sense. Is just tear it down and build a 3, 4, 6 unit condo there. That would be the most profitable probably strategy in that location, in my opinion. But I said, hey, if you want to work with me a little bit, I'd be willing to work with you. Make something work. So my offer was, again, 10 grand down, which I'm going to explain that. 10,000 down, owner financing for 30 years with a 5-year balloon payment, amortized over 30 years at 1% interest, right? Now I'd probably buy it out within 2 years, but that gave me some time to do the renovations. And you might say, oh, that doesn't sound like a very good offer. Well, I'm overpaying. There's no broker involved, so there's no commission. And a family would get the property like she wanted. I'm putting at least around 200 grand into this property, if not more. She get money income and a little money up front that I could lose at any time. I could lose any of this money, right? I can lose my earnest money. I can lose the monthly money. I can lose the $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 that I put into the property if I didn't pay her, right? And it seemed to me like it was I thought it was a pretty fair offer, to tell you the truth, versus someone that's going to go in and say, no, I want to build condos, I'm tearing it down, I'll pay you $650, $700. Because the banks are only going to give you so much money, right? And even if the person has the cash to satisfy the bank that says, we'll do the financing for you at 9% or 8%, whatever, unless it's a primary residence. But you got to come up with X amount of money. It's not even about the percentage of money, right? Because the percentage, if it's an investment property, what's it going to be? 20 to 30%. On an $800,000 property, that's a couple $100 grand basically. And then if it's an owner-occupied primary residence, it's not really livable, right? So maybe it is, but it wouldn't be livable, for me. I mean, it's a disaster, right? Like everything is from 1960s, but maybe you're into that. But if you're going to renovate the whole place, now they might say, okay, 3.5% down, right? I think that's, unless you're a veteran. So, you have to put down a lot less, but that's probably less than 50 grand, right? Yeah. But now you have to now you have to make sure that the house appraises. So if they say, well, you only have to put 3.5% down, but in its current value, we appraise the house at, you know, 700. And then maybe the people don't have the money to put down on the house. You know, maybe they can't come up with 150 grand. And if they could, they might say, well, now we're going to renovate the house. You know what I mean? So it's like a conundrum, right? Like it's, if that's the right word, it's kind of like you can't solve it because you move things. It's a puzzle that you're trying to solve. Versus a cash buyer that comes this, I just buy it, I'm tearing it down, I'll give you X amount of money, and that's it. So, and that's what their lawyer for the trust had told me that they were struggling with. So they rejected my offer, didn't counter. I thought if anything it was a starting point where they might say, well, you know, we want more money down, or we don't want to do 1%, or we want to do a shorter term. I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. It's a conversation, but they didn't even want to entertain that. And up until this point, the seller and I were texting because it was very informal. Now she's not even responding to me there, but it's okay. It's all part of the thing. There's some deals that you're just not going to get. Now another property came up, ironically, right behind them that might turn into something. My real interest is right now, my wife and I and a friend of ours, and then somebody else I'm doing some other stuff with, are going to get together because they have a fleet of cars, and we want to do the Toro thing. We're going to try that out because my buddy's making a little money, they're making money, and I said, you know what, let me get into that. Maybe we could do like 10, 20 cars, and they said they'll manage because you can do co-hosting. And now the airport, Logan Airport, is right there, very busy. There's a major hotel, which was really my main interest in this property in East Boston. It was only 6 minutes from the airport. So, but it was kind of difficult to get in the back, you know, where I was going to put the cars. I figured I could probably figure it out. But I'm always trying to come up with ways to cash flow, right? Besides just your job, your W-2. You know, I go to work. I'm thankful for the job I have, and you know, you make money. I was talking. See, the guy, his name is Alaska Vet. I was talking to Alaska Vet in a thread there, and you know, I appreciated his response about we're talking about real estate and selling covered calls, and you know, I agree that selling covered calls for me has been very profitable. I mean, I think it but you got to really scale to make any money, right? Or you have to be really close to your strike, your strike price to be really close to what the share price is. And if you don't want to lose the shares, then, you know, even though the premiums are higher, you risk losing your shares. So you have to kind of build that up to where weekly and monthly you're getting some income, almost like a rental unit, which again, I agree with Alaska Vet. That's kind of like, to me, it's like collecting rents. But if you have real estate properties, you have investment in some stocks and some company that you like Tesla or Google or Microsoft or Apple, whatever it is that you're into. And, you know, you're not just watching it grow and appreciate, hopefully, even through the volatility, but maybe you sell some covered calls along the way, unless they're just in a 401k type of thing, which I don't think you can do that. I don't know how to do that. But in my trading account, you know, I do that every week, every month. So the car thing is something different. I've flipped many cars over the years. I've purchased and reconditioned and did body shop work and put them through the shop mechanically, and that's all part of the process. But you know, you got all these kind of fishing poles in the water that are pulling in big fish and little fish, and at the end of the day, you know, you can have a meal and maybe feed somebody else. So so the real estate didn't think that this particular property didn't work out, but I was hoping I won that one because I wanted to show the before and after, right? Because it was such a disaster inside. Like for me, it was a disaster because it was just so outdated. And to salvage the property, basically, you'd have to gut the entire property out with several, I'm sure, dumpsters to tear everything down to the studs, to me, right? To do new floors, new walls, you know, paint, appliances, new kitchens and bathrooms. Probably have to maneuver, you know, some space there. You know, probably add a little bit. It was a big undertaking, which to us was fine because the location was fantastic. Fantastic location, lots of potential. But if it ain't meant to be, it ain't meant to be, you know. And that's what I believe. And if you've done everything you can do to try to get it, I mean, you can't force it, right? And sometimes these things, I will tell you, I'm mentioning this because you never know. It could come back around. You never know. In a couple weeks, couple months, if it doesn't go anywhere for them, they might go, hey, you still have interest? Because I made sure I put that out there. Say, hey, thanks. Sorry it didn't work out, but if something changes, please keep us in mind. So it's always good to, leave the door open instead of being bitter about it and stuff like that. So if when the next one comes, or if this one comes back, I'll make sure to touch on it. But as far as any stocks today, like I'm still just kind of playing Tesla and TSLQ, TSLA, which is Tesla, and TSLQ, which is a derivative. It's like it's the opposite of what Tesla's doing, goes the other way. I'm also doing LABU and LABS, I believe it is. I might be wrong on that, but these two are doing, when one's up, the other one's down. When one's down, the other one's up. And then SOX, SOXS and XOXL is another one where I just look for just plays, volatility plays, swing trades over weeks, days and weeks, where I can make a few hundred or a few thousand, right? I'm not making tens of thousands. I have a friend that does these trades and he makes, 15,000 to 30,000, right, in one play. And it might take him a week to get there, but he's next level. I'm not there yet. So anyway, that's what I got going on for now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow about some more stuff, but I wanted to update you on the East Boston property. I'll see you guys later.